I just wanted to have a chat with you about like how you ended up in Web3 because your journey has been very impressive.
It's not about ending up in Web3. We have just started in Web3. That's the vision always that we have as Diamante and what we see in DM.
And then, of course, you know, I'm a money guy.
Everyone is. If they say it or not, but everyone is. But I like your honesty. Yeah. The journey, you know, coming to Web3, you know, still learning about it, and now coming through a completely new journey. Like started writing few checks, understanding how the deal flow works. So you guys have been a good help. So it absolutely, you know, changes the perspective in terms of how you see a project.
Hello, Chirag. I'm so happy to be there with you. You know, you have been my top one meeting last year. I've been, you know, we met in Abu Dhabi. I've been impressed day one. One of the strongest founder I've met like in 2024. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I've seen in you something that maybe a bunch of people are seeing in you. And I just wanted to have a chat with you about like how you ended up in Web3 because your journey has been very impressive to me. You catch up so fast. So I wanted you to share a bit more.
Yeah, it has been, you know, absolute, you know, tremendous journey, like since we met. But it's like, let's go back.
Yeah.
Let's go back to like how we both started at Web3, right? So it's not about ending up in Web3. We have just started in Web3. That's the vision always that we have as Diamante and what we see in DM. And that correlates to my personal vision. Like you always keep on learning, right? My background has been completely different with chemical and biological engineering. And then, you know, I switched to setting up a microbrewery. That's when I got introduced to XRP. So my first introduction to Web3 is XRP. And with the promise XRP had at that time, you know, it had made world crazy. And it's not only about the tokens, not about the token pricing. It's about how people see money, how people correlate to the money remittances. And as I come from, you know, a business background from my family, where we are in business in like more than 35 years, doing remittances globally. So we understand what is the value of time and money when the money is moving across the globe. And that's what XRP, you know, changed the whole perspective. That's when we started closely looking at what is XRP. And that's where we got introduced to blockchain. Like it has been a phenomenal journey where we see a huge potential in the tech. And it's not only about, you know, the token side of it, but most of the people like me, everyone got introduced to blockchain via Bitcoin or via XRP or any other assets or Ethereum. And now we see a whole new culture of memes coming. So when we started back in 2017, like zero knowledge. With a zero knowledge, we did a huge amount of research. I got personally, you know, very, very involved in like understanding like what is blockchain. Had endless calls with my current CTO. So we have been together since inception, trying to understand the tech because it has not been easy. And still it is not easy. Right? We are learning every day. And that is the reason, you know, we are ahead of the curve on what we are doing. So imagine knowing nothing about blockchain and currently building the world's first quantum resilient layer 1 to making sure each and every assets that anyone in the Web3 hold are quantum safe. So we at Diamante, we are making sure your Bitcoins, your Ethereums you hold in your wallet are quantum safe. Majorly, when we see the different markets, when we see the crypto market, when we see the securities market. So people feel very, very safe in the securities market when they're investing because there are certain regulations who are regulating each and every country's securities market. But when we see crypto is a different wave, a different vibe where we see it's a global market. And when you talk about a global market, it runs 24/7 and with very minimalistic regulations in place till date. I'm sure it's going to be regulated.
Yeah.
But that's the difference. And that's why we see a huge change in the curve on how people behave to Web3. And more or less, who people who are coming to Web3, that's a very small audience. It's just a start. Like, if you talk to a normal investor, like 40 years, never understand blockchain, but still they have started to have crypto in their portfolio to manage their portfolio, taking small risk. And the more and more it gets regulated, the more and more it gets known to how safe it is. It's going to be a huge amount of funds flowing from different markets to the crypto market. So what's stopping people to have big, huge chunks of funds coming in their portfolio? It's the most important factor is security. And that's what we have solved. Because we have seen stories where people lost their Bitcoin wallet. We have seen stories that got hacked. Like we have recently heard about huge hacks, right? So if your money is not safe, you take a small risk. But imagine with Diamante, you make each and every asset safe in the Web3 space, each and every network more safer than what they are today, and the huge wave of investment coming in. That's why it's very important, to wedge yourself against a quantum risk, because Google has been doing an amazing job. Microsoft, a lot of huge Web2 companies are leaping forward in the quantum space. And that's a great thing. When we see the chunk of tech in the quantum side of it, we feel like, okay, it's going to change the world. We all have used, the internet where it is like a dial-in network, slowly like the speeds and like kbps. Now we don't talk about the speed anywhere in the world. And that's what's going to happen after a few years with quantum. So just to give a more highlight on like what is quantum safe, why quantum is a risk for the Web3 space. Imagine in earlier days, we used to have lockers where we used to keep our money in the safe locker with a combination of 4 digits. Then it has got evolved. Everything became digital. Then it came to numbers as a password. Like we used to keep like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as password. Then people realized this is not safe. We need to have a different combination. We need to have a certain character limit, a combination of different characters, numbers. And then we see the evaluation of two-factor authentication. So it has been a journey, right? The more and more the computational power is increased, it's easier for the hackers, the bad players of each and every industry to hack your assets, to make you feel unsafe. And quantum is a good thing, but what happens is, with that computational power, if it falls in the hand of a bad actor, what happens is the assets that you hold, they're not safe anymore. It's not like, okay, all your assets are going to be hacked. But if someone just tries to hack it, it's possible. So the possibility creates uncertainty, and that uncertainty is the security. And that's what we vouch for, and that's what the leap we have taken. And very, very, very happy to contribute to the whole Web3 space. That's a vision. And that's how we started. Like to make people more and more, educated about it. And that's why it's good to have this discussion very openly.
Yeah, agree. Like that. A lot.
Now I have a question for you. Yeah. Like, how did you start your Web3 journey?
How I started my is back in 2016. Back in the day, I was in China. I was, I came from like a law school. Then I ended up in the business school. And I was pretty bored in the business school. So I started to learn like software engineering on my end. And when I landed in China, I was like, okay, full mode, like being a software engineer, working my ass off, to just get it done and join a team as a software engineer. And then, like digging technology here and there, ended up with like Bitcoin stuff, blockchain. And I was absolutely going crazy for the tech. I remember I was calling my father and, like telling him like that this stuff will change how we exchange, how we settle. You mentioned about like instant settlement and so on. And I was really into tech. And then, of course, I'm a money guy.
Everyone is. If they say it or not, but everyone is. But I like your honesty. Yeah.
And so I ended up like starting to do like buying tokens and like starting trading, investing, and so on and so on. And you know, I turned to be like from tech, studying tech like crazy, and then investment trading. I was going nuts with trading. No sleep at night. I was waking up, you know, like in the middle of the night. How is like my portfolio going, and so on and so on. Hopefully, I have my brother, you know, who is like a more quant guy, you know, mathematic guy, and shared with him a bit like my journey with crypto and so on. Started to pick up on him, and then he helped me like properly manage my risk, you know, and not doing like degen stuff. So yeah, it's how I got started in crypto. It's mainly through the tech, to be honest. I know like most people say we are in for the tech, but definitely when I got started, I was in for the tech. I was absolutely amazed by the tech and how it will change. For me, it was a new internet, you know. And especially in China, you know, back in the days, in 2016, it was pretty hot. So yeah, I had an amazing time, you know, with crypto people in China.
Yeah, the famous French brothers killing the Web3 space.
Yeah.
I absolutely remember the first time we met in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Right? We got introduced to our common friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like just chilling and just open conversation like what we are having together. And you talked about investment. And that was, you know, I think one of the quickest investment we got at Diamante before the launch.
You know, we like to write quick check, you know. What matters is like you meet a founder, you know, they have a bunch of investors, they are dealing, negotiating, and so on. You know, on our side, it's only about value add capital. So if we can, you know, get the deal done ASAP, we will do it ASAP. And you know, as I mentioned, you know, when we meet first time, for me, the check was already written. After the first meeting, the check was already written.
So now that brings to an important question, like, what did you like about Diamante, or like how did you decide? Okay, when after like a 30-minute meeting, you wanted to write a check. So it's words coming out of my mouth, or the confidence that you had in the project, or the previous research you had done with a.
I think it's a mix of like bunch of stuff. I would say to get started is like, of course, you know, like you know, as a VC guy, of course we do due diligence. You know, I have team for that, like crunching data, making sure that they are inputting into quant models to, you know, make sure the deal is like worth it, not worth it. Is it a good exposure? Are we overexposed and so on? But end of the day, you know, it's like talking to a human, and I think the human part of it has been very striking for me. So meeting you, sharing your vision, sharing like how you want to execute upon your vision, your background, you know, you're an engineer, you catch up Web3 so fast. You have very deep understanding on like how industry players are working together, which is pretty rare because, you know, it's not like easy information to get. So first thing first, I think is like, of course, you, and then it's how you sell the vision, how you build the product, and then my team validated the deal, of course, you know, like quick due diligence, of course. But yeah, this is how we ended up like investing in
I'm getting there. I'm definitely getting there because the journey, you know, coming to Web3, you know, still learning about it, and now coming through a completely new journey. Like started writing few checks, understanding how the deal flow works. So you guys have been a good help. So it absolutely, you know, changes the perspective in terms of how you see a project. But it's similar like me. More or less, I am more, you know, investing into the future of Web3, and the future of Web3 are the founders building it. Yeah. So it's all about the vision of the founder. Yeah. And most importantly, are they able to execute it? And at what level? And it's not about, you know, just writing check. It's about the value addition. Exactly. If you can work together out, and I think that's the difference between, you know, being a big VC. So it's like, okay, having 5-10 deals, and if 2 of them or 3 of them doesn't work out, for them, it's okay. It's a cumulative approach they take. But what I see and what I have learned from you guys, it's about, you know, fine-tuning the experience that a founder would have in Web3, making him understand like what exactly it is required to become the next millionaire. And that's what we believe, like at Diamante as well, on my personal level as well. So we have this new cool tagline. It's like built for the billions. So
Let's go.
if it is built for the billions, and if you are not thriving and helping projects and founders to become millionaires, it's never going to be a billion. It's not about the FTV. It's not about the money that you have in your pocket. It's about how many people you are, helping to get to that level. Because when you talk about FDV, let's say if some project has $1 billion FDV or something, and that's what I have noticed, like maybe $10 billion FDV. Like it's not actually $10 billion, right? But the belief in the mind of the
People's mind,
retail people, okay, this is something that is going to help them. It's going to make them wealthy, first of all, because everyone, understands the mechanism of money. But it's about the belief in, let's say, any project, what they are doing and how they can change the world, how many minds they can have. And then we talk about the mind share, right? So when you talk about mind share, like what is the mind share of Web3 right now? Like where are people focused with your experience?
So maybe I want to get back on one point. I think you mentioned that we are very activist. So our whole goal, is to not just write check. I think writing a check is just about building the relationship, moving forward. What we are up for is really helping founders on whatever they need. Of course, we have some area of expertise and stuff here and there. But our goal is to really help funders like you. And that's why I think it's very important. And we have a bunch of funders who's and included yourself, investing in crypto project, right? So in here, the end goal is to, as a funder, help other funders. We have invested in more than 100 companies in the past 18 months. So in here, we have a bunch of funders around us. And, you have met bunch of them already. The goal is to team up together, help each other, grow together, get the learnings from one to another. And it's how I think defending our portfolio companies is so important for us. Because end of the day, we are not traditional VC kind of guys. We are in the trenches, trying to help you out, making the most out of your vision.
And I hope you guys say the same. Yeah. Because I completely believe in what you guys have been doing and what you guys, as an investor, the support we have got from you. It's completely different. We recently had a TG, and our TG would have been a very different thing if we wouldn't have signed a deal with you guys just maybe 12 or 14 hours before the TG.
Yeah.
Until a couple of days before TG, we never heard that term, treasury management. And I think through this, I think it's a very good to the podcast where we should make people understand what is treasury management. So if you could explain what is treasury management, then after you explain, maybe I can say how it has changed how we see our TG as a successful TG and how it would have been without the treasury management, the clear difference.
Yeah. So in here, our core expertise, my brother, that's Mike One, known as that's Mike One, is a former market maker. He handled more than 100 TGs, right? So he's very deep in the industry. We are very deep we are connected with most market makers, most VCs. We are analyzing all listing on the market and so on. And one of our core expertise that we provide to projects is helping them when it comes to preparing their listing, making sure they select the right market makers, advising them on listing strategies, centralized exchanges, and so on and so on. We are more advisors than anything else on this part, and then it's helping us understand that key market participant in your token. So you have centralized exchanges that are here to bring you by pressure and onboard bunch of guys on your project, being able to become a stakeholder. Then you have market makers who are really focused on providing liquidity. A market maker, I think in the common sense, most people think market makers should be pumping or dumping token. Is not the case at all. A market maker is about being delta neutral, what we call, so not taking a directional trade on the token. It's only about providing liquidity to make sure that the demand and the offer is meeting together, right? So make a venue where people can come, buy, sell your token in the most stable way, right? So And then you have your treasury. As a founder, you have tokens, you have dollars, right? And part of it is like how you can maximize your token and your cash balance, right? And is where we help because we are former quant traders. We have like algorithm running since 2019 on like blue chips and so on. We built like an amazing trading infrastructure over the past years. It's our core, I would say, focus over the past year. Even though now we do a bunch of VC, our main activity remains trading. So in here, treasury management is about like maximizing your token treasury, helping you when it comes to accumulate more of your token, generating cash out of it, and so on and so on, and becoming like a revenue stream for you as a founder.
So if I'm correct, when you talk about, okay, as a founder, you're talking about the project, right? How the project manages their own treasury in terms of the tokens and the liquidity they have. So, okay, that might sound very good for any founder who's listening to us, but how it would affect to audience who is investing in crypto, right? How a project who is doing a good treasury management is different from a project who is not doing a treasury management, and how it is beneficial for the retail audience, right? Who are coming and buying tokens for like $10, $100, believing in the project, like how they would see the difference between those two.
That's funny. You mentioned earlier like XRP, right? My brother, like maybe three years ago, had a crazy statement. Everybody was looking at him like, this guy is going crazy. He was telling us like, guys, XRP, the way they manage the treasury management compared to Ethereum, they will flip in FDV Ethereum, right? And it happens like a few weeks ago. So XRP flip Ethereum on the FDV level, right? You imagine how crazy it is. Just because those guys has been able to properly manage their treasury, making sure they are securing, dollars to boost the growth, to accumulate token, and making sure that their price action is looking great for investors to look at their token and invest in XRP. It's a massive statement. So when you're looking at those kind of use cases, like XRP being like flipping Ethereum in terms of FDV, if XRP is still alive, it's because they are doing treasury management the right way, And treasury management is not about like pump and dump, not at all, or like wash trading, all those kind of words that we are hearing all the time. It's about like defending holders of the project by enhancing the price action of the token while generating revenue for founder from their token and operate and finance, fund all your operations so you can pay for growth, accelerate growth, and so on. So basically, I think as a founder, when you have a token, you want to, every dollar that you extract from your token is about like how I can reinject those dollars made into growth, so I can compound over time, and it's how you sustain and you become a big guy in crypto, I think.
So I think definitely it makes sense for a project who is like a layer 1, layer 2, or let's say an AI agent or a DeepIn or RWA project, where they are building, we're investing huge amount of time, money, effort into building something that is very beautiful, that can be helpful to a lot of people in the Web3, Web2 space. But when you talk about the meme culture, right, with the meme coins, so how is treasury management with the meme coins, right? How do you see that? Like, how does it affect the memes?
So I think meme coins are, most people think it's like shit coins and so on. Meme coin, I hear, is part of the culture of Web3. It's part of it. We had NFT with maybe come back. Today is meme coin, which is part of the culture. Treasury management is something that also happen on meme coin. I think what matters, like most of the time, you build treasury when you're listed on centralized exchange, right? It's very difficult to do it on chain because I'm sure most people, we don't like what I'm saying, but like most of the liquidity is on centralized exchange over decentralized exchanges, right? So we have seen some meme coin building treasury, especially quite recently. There is some meme coins that have been doing amazing building treasury, and that's why those guys are still there, having decent market cap and will grow over time, And it's those kind of alpha that you want to invest in. Like when you know that a project has good runway, has know how to manage a token, know how to improve their price action, and so on and so on. It's a very good, like alpha signal. So in here,
Yeah,
definitely.
for a region like you guys, it's easy for you to identify which project is doing a treasury management, but there is no, in terms of any metrics, because most of the people who are listening to us, they just open coin market cap, what is the growth?
Yeah.
They know, okay, but no one knows who for a project, like who is the market maker, if they're doing treasury management or not. So how to identify that? So that for the investor, like on a personal level also, let's say even for me, like if I want to invest in like bunch of tokens, how do I make sure the project is doing everything right to have the tick box so that I can, vouch for that project, to invest in that project, to grow my wealth?
I think in here, there is a bunch of metrics to look at when you are like a retail investor. Starting with CoinMarketCap, you mentioned like CoinMarketCap. Just checking at the volume, looking at the liquidity, looking at the depth, checking the order book and so on. There is a bunch of alpha already there, and just looking at that, you will have a good understanding of what is the liquidity of this token, how is it moving over time, and then you have a bunch of like more advanced metrics that you can find on like platform like Nansen or like on-chain stuff and so on. And I think here it's like about how you build a conviction. It's not only, you mentioned meme culture, like, or meme coin, like meme coin, of course there is a cult, right? This cult is like, you need to understand the cult to build the conviction. Because if you don't understand the cult, end of the day, you are just like trying to pump your bag or doing like a 10x. It's not about making a 10x. It's about like why you think this stuff with this token will do 10x, right? And in here, it's about like a very large range of like metrics. Mention liquidity checking, like doing research, understanding the cult, and so on. That will make you build the conviction over time. And we see too many people, like just like jumping in on the first tickers they see online on Twitter. Like, no, you should not do that. Basically, you receive a ticker, you do your research, you understand the ins and outs of that. You start to invest slowly but surely, and as you start to invest, you're starting to understand because you will follow the project a bit more closely. And then from there, you will understand how is it moving because you are involved in the token. You see how the price is moving on and so on and so on. And more you do that, at one point, it's like very, natural and organic for you to identify those kind of tokens that are.
But still, it looks very, very difficult. It sounds very difficult. Like if I'm talking as a normal person who is just new to the Web3, or even if you are experienced in Web3, it is very difficult, to identify this, even after listening to you. So maybe I have some crazy idea right now. Like we are very good at building tech. We have built one of the best tech in the Web3 space on the network side of it. And you guys are one of the best quants that you can find in the Web3 space. So why not make this easier for each and every investor to identify? Maybe putting up platforms or metrics.
Analytics,
where it's easier, like just open the website, you understand, okay, this token has this much of a treasury management going, or these are the metrics. Because the coin market cap metric is all about the volumes they do. But there is nothing for a normal investor to identify what kind of a token they should believe in, because there are like thousands and thousands of tokens, maybe like 1 million token in the market, and it's not easy. And the more and more it becomes easier, you'll have a new wave of investor coming to the market. So why not do a platform together? Just an idea right now.
To be honest, I think it's something that's a great idea. We have a bunch of metrics, and again, like the metrics is not only about the token, the liquidity, it's also about like the macro, looking at how is the economy is running, how is the cycle moving on, and so on. I think for the past like few months, we've seen like the market with having some sideways, ups and downs. It's not moving as people expect to move, but the market is maturing. Like institutional money getting in, we see like some more stable, I would say, inflows and so on, and all those metrics, like from like the macros, the market, like which stage are we, and so on. What are the next narrative, and so on. It's like a very like large topic to deep dive and provide analytics on. It's like and then it's about like how you can summarize that to people. Like It's not easy, to be honest. I think it's something that we can work on 100%,
Yeah.
but like not easy
Absolutely.
to
Like proof of smoke would bring a proof of investment.
Exactly.
Maybe a nice name for the platform as well.
Yeah. So yeah, if you are a project in crypto, you should hit us up. Like whatever, Chirag or myself would be more than happy to have a look, and even like your community, if they have like some tickers that they want us to analyze, we'd be more than happy to
Absolutely. And
share info.
Personally, I would send you something because it's a question of not alone of me. It's a question of millions of investors out there,
Yeah,
right? Because everyone wants to feel safe.
I understand that, and to be honest, I think one path that is not super common for retail investor in Web3 is like venture capital. I think right now in VC, it's like something that is a bit underrated. It's like most retail investor can have access to venture capital, which is not the case in Web3. Well, less the case in Web3, right? Even though you have a bunch of syndicate and so on, the ticket is most of the time pretty high and so on. In crypto, to start building a VC portfolio is so easy to access and so on. So what I would say as a founder, and like VC, you have a bunch of principles being like the power law and like the spray and pray stuff, like the goal is to invest in as many deals as possible and pray. And you will have one that will be a big returner that will cover like all the loss and even more. So I think an underrated stuff, and I think right now you are starting to really like push hard on this one, is deploying capital in VC, because it's a bit more passive. You don't have to worry much about like market up, market downs. You invest, you are waiting for you're tracking the project, and you are waiting for the project to hit maturity. And when the project hit maturity, you start to sell your bag or like even like capitalize and accumulate some more bags, right? So I think VC is a very good start as a retail investor to build your VC your crypto exposure.
So maybe you are talking about like having an ICO kind of a wave into VC capital kind of a thing. So teaching something new to the Web3 investors so that, a new way of crowdfunding, new way of ICOs coming to VC capitals, because like even in my early days, I always thought, okay, VCs are the biggest players in Web3 that are making the most amount of money. Yeah. So you guys are maybe thinking about giving an access to the retail investors.
It's what we do
into VC, yeah?
It's what we do. We have a pretty large community. We with my brother, we always like since we started running a community and so on, we always try to translate what we were doing on a personal level to the community and being able to scale it for the community to step into investments that on our side we are doing. We are not financial advice and so on, but like here the goal, with our VC stuff. So we have one VC part which is more like classic VC part, and we have another side which is a community venture capital. So we grant our community access to deals that VC are having, and there is new players coming in crypto doing this part, and I think it's how things will move forward, because community is so powerful. As a founder, you want to onboard users very early, become shareholder of your project, because they will defend your bag, defend your trade, So in here, it's about like getting early users, giving them like terms that VC has, right? And being able to get exposure to like Diamante, very early stage. And those guys will become fanatic, like as we are fanatic, as we are activists, it's about like, okay, I invest early. Now it's time to defend my trade and making sure that I will help the founder, the project succeed. And it can be very like small stuff, like on the community side of things, like every time we are like giving them access to an investment, like in a project, what we are telling them is like just a tweet, just a retweet, just a reply, just like a good word, just like showing up your sharing with your friends on a Saturday night that you have invested in this company is brand awareness, and it's how you compound stuff over time, And so community is so powerful. I think crypto is about community. Investment is about community. Diamante is about community. So in here, we should just give access to the community. And what we do with Q42,
Yeah, the community is the key. Like we are building everything for communities.
Yeah.
If you are building your VC communities, if you are for investors to invest, if you are building anything in Web3, it's all about the community. And if you don't have those community, it's not like you can build massive things,
Yeah.
but if it is built for no one,
Exactly.
no one cares about it. Yeah.
Memcon has been doing amazing on this part.
Yes.
The way the engineer like community building is like massive.
So people talk about a lot of memes, right? But I see memes very differently, right? Memes, people think, okay, this is a meme coin, this is pump and dump. Pump and dump is a different game, right? A lot of people trying to make money in a short time. But I see meme in a very different way. Meme is a culture, right? Meme is something that you believe in. That correlates to your daily life. We have seen good memes coming that are correlated to daily life of individuals, normal individuals who are doing their daily jobs, who are daily busy with their daily life, but they want that kind of an entertainment, and they see that kind of an entertainment coming through the meme culture. So it connects in a deep manner, in a very deep manner to any project who is building on meme. So more or less, if you see throughout the history, not even in Web3, Web2, even in the, let's say, media space, people has always correlated to stuff that is, like more or less funny, more or less relatable to the daily life, right? And that's how I think each and every project should, feel about the token. It can be a layer 1, it can be a layer 2, it can be RWA deep in.
Whatever. Yeah.
But if you have a way to communicate with your community in a different manner, it's just how you are sending your communication
100%.
to the audience. So we at Diamante as a layer 1, right? We can build the coolest stuff in the world, making the wallet safe, making the assets safe. But the way we communicate with our audience, meme culture is the best culture to do it.
Yeah, I think every funder should really look at like how memes are like handling community, how they are building community, how they are like sharing common values among the community, because as I would say not a meme token, definitely you want to implement this kind of stuff, like Diamante, I know you are doing it, guys. It's like, how you can make your community as strong as possible, having the strongest bond, because those guys are the one who will make it or destroy it, So in here, it's only about like just engineering a bit more. It's like community building, whatever. As you mentioned, you are layer 1, you are AWA, you are DeepN, you are like AI agent stuff and so on. What you really want to achieve, end of the day, is like gathering your community, making sure your older are well treated, delivering value to them, and then from there, your token will be impacted. There is no question about that. Like I strongly believe that there is a very strong correlation on like how projects are handling product delivery, values they are providing for users, new innovation, tech, and distributing that to their community, building the community, and so on. If you compound all those stuff, definitely it will be like shown in your token price and valuation.
Absolutely. There is a certain set of formula, what I think, that makes a project more successful, right? Or even a project if it's losing. So I believe like no one is losing. You only lose when you give up, right? And when you are continuously building, and if your community believes in it, you're definitely going to rise. So we have seen the markets, the bear markets. Now we are entering to a phase where everyone is bullish about the bull market is coming, right? So on a personal level, like, what do you think about the markets, right? What if you want to give a single message, a one-liner message to the audience in terms of how is the market?
So on the market, I don't have any crystal ball. So how I'm very bullish, since a while. Even though, over the past months, market has been going down. I think it's the right time to just like rotate on your portfolio, making sure that you are exposed to the right thing, buying like lower and making sure that you are like getting ready for the next like cycle of like upside. I have a strong conviction in crypto market. Of course, I want to generate return, like as much as possible and maximize my portfolio and so on. But like, I think what matters is like when market is down, you really want to stick to it, and dig into it, because when there is blood in the streets, there is some money to make, right? So, I think most people, like they are chasing a bit the FOMO, the FUD, and so on. But like, you should really be cold-blooded, build your plan, and always trying to review your plan depending on what's your frequency as an investor. But even though quarterly, or monthly, just go, okay, last month I wanted to have an exposure here. I wanted to do that. Okay, market is moving, market is like evolving. I need to change, I need to adapt. And the market, I think in the past year and more, has shown that like you need and you want to have a very like active behavior as an investor, because there is no free lunch, okay? And being an active investor is how you will improve your game, ace your game over time, and it's how you will make the good return. It's also about the learning. I think most people are chasing the return. I understand that, but it's also the journey toward the return. And more your journey is like, more you understand your trade, because most people don't really understand their trade. If you understand deeply your trade, it will be easy to replicate those kind of trade, right? Having luck on like dropping dollars in a bunch of meme coins and so on, cool. Wish you all the luck, guys. But it's not how you can engineer a system over time where you will be always winning. What matters, I think, is to not lose and trying to always win and put in place a system where you adapt according to market cycle, you adapt according to the macroeconomy, and you adapt according to a bunch of factors.
Now I have a very interesting question. I think a lot of people would have this kind of question right now.
Yeah.
So what should we have in our portfolio right now? Because you have been an experienced investor, you're making big, you're helping a lot of projects. So what assets should an individual have in their portfolio, and what percentage? And if you can share your portfolio, I think it would be amazing.
So, I will talk about my portfolio. So, of course, you want to be exposed in blue chips. Like when I say blue chips, it's like Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and so on. Now it's about being exposed to blue chips. It's about like timing it the right way. So you want to have like a good exposure on blue chips, and then you have maybe a portfolio of altcoins or like meme coins and so on. And here is more about like doing your own research, making sure that you understand where you put your money in, and the why behind you put your money in, looking at like market cap, FDV, liquidity, like Twitter, like understanding the tech behind and so on and so on. All those kind of stuff that you should put in place to build a proper portfolio of altcoin and meme coins. Of course, I think it's important to have a bit of meme coins these days in the folio. Altcoins, I think there is some growth coming in, so of course you want to have some exposure to altcoin, but really be picky. You doesn't want to have like hundreds of tokens in your portfolio because it becomes very difficult to manage and to catch up. So what matters is to pick the right areas. And be selective, and then of course a big piece of my folio is like venture capital. I'm an entrepreneur now and VC. So I don't have a crazy amount of time to do my research on like my personal do So what I do is very straightforward. I have blue chips in the folios that are managed with like algorithmic trading stuff, and then I do a bunch of VCs. And then I'm having fun, with friends and with you, for example, Chirag, like tickers and so on. We share and like just having fun doing some free trading here and there, right? But like, I think you should keep it simple. Keep it simple. Yeah. And then also always another big part is like trying to have some, stable coin on the side. In such period, like we have seen it, like you need to have some cash to be able to capture opportunities, right? So until you see a very strong momentum, like clear trend that, okay, let's go risk on, you want to have stablecoin in your portfolio and you want to be active in managing it. It's like holding. So what I would say is like no hodl, okay, no shitcoin, no DCA, because it's a suboptimal strategy. What you want is try to time the market, and to be honest, it's fairly easy to do in crypto. And no leverage. Okay, leverage will kill you.
Let me apply the rules. Let us all apply the rules so that we can, have a piece of what portfolio the famous
Yeah.
French brother has.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful, Adrien. It was a wonderful conversation.
Of course, Chirag. Whenever
Thanks
you
a lot
want.
for being here with us. And thanks a lot for supporting us.
Always happy. Always happy to support you. I think you have a long way to go. And the journey will be absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So, yeah.
If you guys are bullish, my 50% job is done. So I just need to build for 50%.
We are bullish, Diamante. So, guys, let's go.